Welcome back to the Bookshelf. We're in conversation with Angela Makholwa. She is the best-selling author of The Redance Stalker. So we were talking about adaptation. Before we go there, though, congratulations on the 30th candle.
Thanks.
So that is in feature form. You've now extended to so much more to your talents. Not only are you a journalist, you're PR specialist, logistics and events management, author, best-selling author, now also a filmmaker. But before we get there, The Redance Stalker, maybe you can explain what the title means and why the title.
Yeah, I think what really excites me about The Redance Stalker is that, I read a lot of crime fiction because I'm a crime writer. And a lot of it is set, in European or, far-flung areas. And I just thought, why not actually just dig into something that is specifically and just unapologetically African, like an African cultural event, So I thought about where would I set it, and of course we know we're dealing with a very sick character, our antagonist. He fetishizes women, and so I thought, okay, let's go to Eswatini. Let's go to the Redance.
Yeah.
Let's let this man lose his mind. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. So that's where it comes from, that there is this very sick man who, he sees women as sexual objects. And the thing is, if you look at the Redance, it's not necessarily about that.
Yeah.
It is more a cultural kind of celebration, right?
Correct.
So I wanted to also interrogate that controversy, because Africans, when we are semi-dressed, it's not an expression necessarily of a sexual flaunting, of your body. That is not the essence of it.
Correct. Yeah. And as you're saying, we're dealing with a psychopath, somebody who gets off on watching maidens.
Who gets off on that.
But over and above that, he also is sadistic, because not only does he get off on watching their naked bodies, he then fantasizes about terminating their lives.
Yeah, yes, because again, it's a lot about, moral boundaries around sexuality. So, when this, and remember, to him, he's a very religious man, by the way. So to him, somehow in his twisted mind, it is also, why do women tempt men like him? They should know better. Women is a typical misogynistic person. Women know that there are men like me, that I can't control my urges. So why do they flaunt that? So let me punish them. So he sees it as a punishment, because you could do better as a woman. You should cover yourself up, should be decent, you should, all of those kind of...
Correct. And some of the characters that emerge as well. There was a Nandipa, that was quite a surprise. I was Nandipa, Dr. Nandipa. But that is just your style. Yeah.
It's techniques that you use as a crime writer. You drop some breadcrumbs that the reader has to follow, like it's a trail, it's leading you somewhere. But of course, I can't just be overt about it, otherwise,
correct,
where's the fun?
Yeah.
Because there's got to be a lot of suspense. I've got to keep you said that you read it.
I read it literally, I think 4 hours straight.
Yeah, so you see,
I
need
couldn't
you
put
to
it down.
not go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I need you to miss that call.
Yeah.
I need you to forget about your date.
Yeah. And this is the reaction that you've had from your previous books as well. So, I mean, you've obviously, this is a God-given gift that you've mastered, and even led now to one of your books being adapted into a film.
Yes, my second novel, The 30th Candle, was recently featured on a streaming platform. It was entitled Love, Sex and 30 Candles. So yes, there's a lot of adaptations in the works. Actually, all of my books, except this one for now, I suppose, have been snapped up by various producers and are in different stages of adaptation.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, but you hadn't seen this, obviously, how your career would evolve from the time when you wrote The Red Ink, or was that part of the vision?
I think as a debut novelist, you just write, you just hope your mother, your best friend, and somebody who likes you is going to buy that book. Like, okay, maybe even if it's 3 copies, I've done well. You know? You don't, because I think one of the biggest traits of writers, and I think all the good writers that I've met have a healthy level of insecurity, because, you know, once you think you've nailed it, like normally that's when things kind of go haywire, because you just don't push yourself enough.
Yeah.
And I think it is important. It's something that you owe to your readers, to constantly challenge yourself as a writer, be your own worst critic. So when I read a book, I just think, even when I write some of my work, I'm like, okay, we'll see. Let's hope for the best, you know. But so I didn't have great expectations.
Yeah,
you know.
It's amazing. I mean, and your success and your rise throughout your career is really inspiring. So your message to budding or emerging writers and those that may procrastinate, you know, where you overanalyze things to a point where you don't even get it started. Do you think that, you know, there is a book in everyone, or that...
I think that's a horrible misconception. No, I do not think that there's a book in everyone. And I say that because, you know, it's lovely that there is this proliferation of budding writers. And I think, yes, a lot of us have gone through so many experiences that we believe that those experiences must find their way into some kind of textual form. But I think good writers are the ones that actually take time to read a lot. That's like one of the key traits that I have found in good writers. Because when you read a lot, you become exposed to what works, you exposed to different styles of writing, you're able to find your own writing voice, which is quite important, because you don't want to emerge and you're thinking, okay, I think Sindy Mabe is an amazing writer, I'm going to write like her. So I think it's important. So the more books you're exposed to, of course, the more you kind of have a nuanced sense of what your writing voice will feel like, sound like, read like, right? So yeah, I think it's a craft also, very important. It's not, you don't just throw words onto the page and hope that something is going to land. And it's not the nicest experience, because you have to be your own worst critic. So you've got to edit, you've got to check out. I've checked out whole chapters, you know, throughout. I
was actually very amazed at how pacey it is as well, you know, because you could have maybe spent a little bit more time on a scene, but I just found it. That's why it was so difficult to put down. And was that deliberate, or as you're saying, you had to decide?
It's a style. It's a style of writing that just kind of, I don't know where it emerged from. I suppose it's part of my writing voice. Yeah. Because people have commented on my short chapters. And I think because I'm somebody who likes well-paced texts, I guess that's through reading other works, it just became ingrained into my writing DNA, but very subconsciously. It was not a conscious decision. Sihle was brimming with excitement at the prospect of finally meeting Nati, the handsome boy she'd been chatting with on Facebook for months now. She loved how patient he'd been with her, never pestering her for sex or even insisting on meeting with her before she was ready. He was the kind of boy that the matrons at the reed dance always advised the girl to choose, someone who saw her as a potential wife and would not just toy with her emotions, take sexual advantage of her, and then disappear. Although some young girls her age looked down upon the reed dance and felt that it was an archaic institution for girls desperate to be noticed by the king, Sihle cherished the traditions and customs that were taught by the wiser older women at the reed dance, and she believed wholeheartedly in the practice of chastity that were encouraged.
So where's the book available?
The book is available at all good bookstores across the country. It made it to the Exclusive Books Christmas list. So great summer read. I know it sounds very serious and very heavy, but Lucy's very relatable, young woman, fun. She's got crazy friends. She's a single mom. So she's a very multifaceted character who kind of holds all of these things together that are happening in the book. So go get yourself a copy.
Highly, highly recommended indeed. Thank you to Angela Makholwa, best-selling author, and this edition of The Read Dance Stalker, a must-have.